Good morning, students. Myself, K. Lakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of SNH, Chaparral Engineering College. Title, Quantum Mechanics. Topic, Schrodinger's time-independent wave equation. In the last session, we discussed about what is matter wave. So, dual nature of the particle. Let us once again give a brief review about that. Particle exhibiting both particle nature and wave nature. So that particles are nothing but matter waves. And according to de Broglie, these matter waves possesses de Broglie wavelength lambda, and it has various expressions, various different forms of expressions. That is, lambda is equal to h by mv, and lambda is equal to 12.27 by square root of v. V is the potential. And also lambda equal to h by square root of 2me. So these are the different forms of expressions for the de Broglie wavelength. So depending upon the given values in the problem, we have to select which formula is the best to the solution. And the today's session discuss about the Schrodinger's time independent wave equation. So before we discussing about the time independent wave equation, we have know some idea about the wave function. So this is one of the important principle, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Actually, particle existing both particle and wave nature, that is a dual nature. So after that, Heisenberg gives a principle which is called Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So let us discuss the statement. It is impossible to determine both the position and momentum of a particle accurately and simultaneously. So we cannot determine position and momentum of a particle at a time. That is impossible. So here delta x is uncertainty in determining the position. That means delta x denote the uncertainty of the position of the particle, and delta p is the uncertainty in determining the momentum. Then according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, delta x dot delta p greater than or equal to h cross by 2. This is the new word you have to hear in this level. What is h cross? Actually, in our lower classes, you have to learn about the h. H is called Planck's constant. So this is the new word h cross. H cross is nothing but h by 2 pi. Again, h cross is also a constant. So here h value is 6.625 into 10 power minus 34. 2 is constant. Pi is also constant. So h cross is also a constant. Now delta x dot delta p greater than or equal to, by substituting h cross value here, that is h by 2 pi. Already there is by 2, that is into 2. So we get h by 4 pi. So you can write it Heisenberg uncertainty principle as in terms of H cross, that is delta x dot delta p greater than or equal to H cross by 2. Or you can also express in terms of H as delta x delta p greater than or equal to H by 4 pi, where here H is called Planck's constant. Here delta x indicates the error in measurement of the position. That means it is impossible accurate position. So we have some error. So that error is indicated by the letter delta x. So delta x is nothing but error in measurement of a position. Delta p is nothing but error in measurement of momentum. So according to our syllabus, we have Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So it gives a 3 marks question. Okay. So you simply write the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. It's a statement. Actually, we have this Heisenberg uncertainty principle in different physical quantities, position and time, like that. So you simply write the position and momentum. So up to here, it is okay. Now, the next topic is physical significance of wave function. In matter waves, once again I repeat, what is the matter waves? Matter waves are nothing but particles having, material particles having both the particle and wave nature. So those waves are nothing but matter waves. Actually, particles are moved with or they associated with the wave nature. That means matter waves, their physical quantities varies periodically is called wave function. For example, if there is an electron like that, so it moves like in a wave form from one energy state to another energy state. So electron is a particle. It has some physical quantities like velocity, momentum, charge, mass. What are the quantities? But these quantities are also varies periodically. So this variation is expressed in terms of wave by a function that is called wave function. So simply, what is the wave function? It gives the information about how the matter waves moves in a waveform, then its quantities are changes periodically. So simply that is called wave function. So wave function gives the information about what are the periodical changes are going when the matter waves in movement. When it is rest, it is not applicable. Only a wave function is applicable when the particle is in moving position. And the second one, the wave function is call it as xi. We have to use this letter in many times in further session also. You remember it. Wave function means it is a function gives the information about how the quantities varying in matter waves. The wave function xi has no direct physical significance. It is a complex quantity which represents the variations in matter waves. Actually, complex conjugate, complex quantity means it is in the form of A plus IB form. Okay. So the wave function is represented by a complex quantity. Now this wave function connects the particle nature and wave nature statistically, and it also provides information about the momentum and energy of the particle at any instant of time. That means this is the new topic, matter waves. Matter waves nothing but material particles, that means electron, proton, neutron. These are material particles. They having particle nature and wave nature, but both natures or cannot be explained in a single phenomenon, but the information will be given by this wave function. So that is the most useful, most best significance of the wave function. That means it connects the both particle and wave nature. And it also provides the information about the particle at an instant of time, about the momentum and energy. Now, here we have wave function xi, and it is call it as xi star. Then what is this xi star function? So xi star function is nothing but probability of the finding the particle somewhere is. So xi is a wave function and xi star is a complex conjugate of xi. Now the product of xi and xi star is called probability. Probability means a chance where the particle is there. So it simply find. So for example, if there is any metal, so this is a box. So it simply it is a metal box. For example, this is an electron. So xi star gives the information about the what is the position of the electron in this bounded region at particular time. But it is a chance, not a confirmation exactly or accurately position. But xi star gives the probability of the finding the particle within this bounded region. Okay. So, and it gives a finite value also. And next, xi star dx dy dz gives the probability of the finding the particle in a region of space between x and x plus dx, y and y plus dy, z and z plus dz. So in this figure, it is a two-dimensional view. If I'm taking a cube here, okay, this is a cube. Now, it having three axes, x, y, x, y, and z. Okay. Now, what is the length along x-axis? For example, it is the origin O. So along x-axis, the spacing is, for example, from x to x plus dx. Okay. From along y-axis, this is the spacing from y to y plus dy. Simply here, along the length, this is the x position. And this is the x dx position, x plus dx position. Then what is the length between this position and this position? Simply it is dx. Okay. That means dx, similarly dy, dz or the length along x, y, z axis. That means if you take this cube, then the cube having length dx, dy, dz. Then what is the product of dx and dy and dz? Simply it is the volume. That means xi of xi star dx, dy, dz gives the information about the particle within the space between these coordinates. That means simply in one word, it gives the information about this cube. So it having dimensions dx, dy, and dz. So actually, if the particle is present, then the total probability finding in space is given by. That means if this cube having minus infinity to infinity, that means it is an infinite dimensions. So we have infinite dimensions. So we apply what is the total probability. So the total probability is nothing but along x-axis, its limits are minus infinity to plus infinity. Along y-axis, its limits are minus infinity to plus infinity. Along z-axis, its limits are minus infinity to plus infinity. That means if the space is very infinity, even though the particle presence is expressed as integral minus infinity to infinity xi star dx, dy, dz equal to 1. So this equation is nothing but normalization condition, and which wave function, that means which xi satisfy this normalization condition, that wave function is called normalized. And it can be considered as probability amplitude. It is called as probability amplitude since it is used to find the location of the particle. It is useful to location of the particle. Okay. So once again, I repeated this topic, a quite difficult topic to understand that. Okay. If you understand what is the significance of wave function, you can easily understand the remaining topic also. Okay. So first of all, what is the wave function? Wave function is, it is a quantity, it is a function which gives the information about the how the quantities are varies periodically in matter waves. It has no direct significance. It is a complex quantity. So complex quantity means xi function is in a complex quantity, that is a plus ib. And it gives the information about the particle nature and wave nature at particular instant of time. Wave function is called it as xi. So here xi star. So xi star is nothing but complex conjugate of xi. Now the product of xi, xi star is called probability of the particle, probability of finding the particle in somewhere. Somewhere means it has no dimensions. If it has a dimensions, that is along x-axis as a x plus dx, along y-axis as a y plus dy, along z-axis as a z plus dz. That means it is xi star is simply probability of the finding the particle in some way. If we giving some dimensions, then this formula is changed as a xi star dx dy dz. Then total probability. That means we have limits are there. For example, if this dx and dy dz are boundaries from the limit from -1 to 1, then we simply here write it as integral -1 to 1. Actually, x, y, z axis having their limits from -infinity to +infinity. So that's why we write the total probability as integral -infinity to infinity xi of xi star dx dy dz equal to 1. So this is called normalization condition. So which wave satisfy this equation? Then that wave is called normalized. So this is very important rotation, which is used in further topic also. So what is the integral -infinity to infinity xi star dx dy dz is equal to 1? This is indicates the total probability of the finding the particle in a space. And now a simple characteristics of wave function. Xi must be finite everywhere and it gives the continuous and single value, and it is also normalized. What is normalized? I will give the information already. Here, dou xi by dou x, dou xi by dou y, and dou xi by dou z must be finite, continuous, single valued everywhere. So these are the characteristics of wave function. That means the function xi is finite. Then with respect to x partial derivative is also a single finite continuous. Okay. Now, this is the very important topic. Schrodinger's time independent wave equation. Schrodinger's time independent wave equation. According to de Broglie's hypothesis, every moving particle is associated with the wave. Now, it is represented by the wave function xi. If, for example, the particle is moving freely in a positive x direction, then the wave function xi is represented as xi equal to xi naught sine of omega t minus kx. So whenever particle moving, so it is compulsory associated with the wave. So simply that associated wave function is represented as xi. If particle moving along positive x direction, then the wave function xi is represented as Xi naught sine of omega t minus kx. Here omega t is called amplitude. That means when wave is moving here, it has some frequency, amplitude like that. So here omega naught is called amplitude and omega is angular frequency. It is equivalent to 2 pi nu. And k is called propagation vector, that is 2 pi by lambda. Now differentiating equation 1 twice, that is 2 times, with respect to x. So equation 1, first we differentiated with respect to x. So that is represented as dou xi by dou x. Omega naught is a constant. Differentiation of a sine A, that is cos A. So cos of omega t minus kx. Again, there is x term. Minus kx differentiation is minus k. Now this is the first derivative, first differentiation of the wave function. Once again I repeat, dou xi by dou x. Xi naught is constant. Sine A differentiation is cos A, that is cos of omega t minus kx. Again, there is an x term here. So differentiation of minus kx is minus k. Now, again differentiation. So we have to twice the differentiation. So dou square xi by dou x square. Xi naught is constant. Cos A differentiation is minus sine A, that is sine omega t minus kx. Again, we have minus kx term here. So minus k and minus k, that is k square. Once again, I repeat, omega naught cos A is minus sine A. We have minus k here. Again, we get differentiation of this minus kx, that is minus k. So minus k into minus k, k square. K square. So minus k square as it is. Omega naught sine omega t minus kx. So this is equation 1, which is equivalent to xi. So we get minus k square xi. But k is called propagation vector. Already we discuss here. This value is equal to 2 pi by lambda. Then k square value becomes to 2 pi lambda whole square. K square value is, that is 4 pi square by lambda square xi. So this is the expression for the dou square xi by dou x square. Now this minus term is moved to this side. We get dou square xi by dou x square plus 4 pi square by lambda square xi equal to 0. So this is equation 2. According to de Broglie concept, matter waves possesses a wavelength which is called de Broglie wavelength. It is expressed as lambda equal to h by l. lambda equal to h by m. Now substitute here. So we have 4, that is as it is dou square xi by dou x square, plus is as it is 4 pi square. So 4 pi square by lambda square here. So simply squaring on both sides. Then we get lambda square h square by m square v square, okay, into z. Now this denominator m square v square move to this side. Then we get this equation. Dou square xi by dou x square plus 4 pi square by h square m square v square psi equal to 0. So here h cross, already we discussed in Heisenberg uncertainty principle, h cross is equal to h by 2 pi. Now h cross square becomes to h square by 4 pi square. Okay. Now again, this is the reverse of h cross square. Okay. So 1 by h cross square means 1 by h cross square means 4 pi square h square. Okay. So simply you have to replace this value by 1 by h cross square. Then we get m square v square by h cross square xi equal to 0. Okay. This is equation 3. Now total energy of the particle is the sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. Overall, this chapter, potential energy is represented by capital V. So total energy E equal to kinetic energy expression is half mv square. Potential energy expressed as a capital V. Then half mv square. Now V written to this direction. It becomes to E minus V. Now cross multiply 2 here. mv square is equal to 2 into E minus V. Again multiply m on both sides. M on both sides. Then we get m square v square is equal to 2m E minus V. This is the equation 4. Now we have m square v square in equation 3. Substitute the m square v square as a 2m into E minus V. Then we get dou square xi by dou x square plus 2m by h cross square E minus V xi equal to 0. This is called Schrodinger's time-independent wave equation in one-dimensional only. Actually, in starting, we discussed wave moves in freely along x-axis only. If xi is the time-independent wave equation, here xi is called time-independent wave equation. Here there is no time t term here, so that's why this is called time-independent wave function. Now, this expression we can also apply for 3 dimension also by simply right here in place of dou square xi by dou x square as dou square xi by dou x square plus dou square xi by dou y square plus dou square xi by dou z square. So this is called del square xi in vectors. Actually, this is value is equal to del square. This is called Laplacian operator. So what is the del square here? Dou square by dou x square plus dou square dou y square plus dou square dou z square. This is called Laplacian operator. So if we apply Laplace operator for xi, so simply this is called del square xi 2m h cross square e minus v xi equal to 0. So this is called Schrodinger's time independent wave equation in three-dimensional view. Okay. Once again, I repeat. So xi is a function. When particle is moving along x direction, it is represented as xi equal to xi naught sine of omega t minus kx, where omega naught is amplitude and omega is angular frequency, that is 2 pi mu, and propagation vector, that is 2 pi by lambda. Now, differentiating the equation 1 twice times. Here, dou xi by dou x equal to xi naught sine A differentiation, that is cos A, cos of omega t minus kx. Again, minus kx differentiation is minus k. Now differentiate second time. Dou squared xi by dou x square, xi naught constant, cos A differentiation minus sine omega t minus kx. We have already having minus k here, and minus kx differentiation is also minus k. So minus k becomes to k square. So this is simply xi function here from equation 1. Then we get dou square xi by dou x square is minus k square xi, but k is propagation constant, that is 2 pi by lambda. Then k square value is 2 pi by lambda whole square, that is 4 pi square by lambda square xi. Now minus term move this side, then we get dou square xi by dou x square plus 4 pi square lambda square xi equal to 0. According to de Broglie hypothesis, the wavelength of the matter waves, that is lambda is equal to h by mv. Now, dou square xi by dou x square plus 4 pi square. In the denominator, we have lambda square. From this, lambda square value becomes to h square by m square v square. Now, 4 pi square, lambda square substitute here, h square by m square v square. Now the m square v square term is moved from denominator to numerator here. Then we get 4 pi square by h square. Actually, h square is equal to h by 2 pi. Then h cross square value equal to h square by 4 pi square. By reverse, 1 by h cross square is equal to 4 pi square by h square. So simply 4 pi square by h square value is 1 by h cross square. And next, the total energy is sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. So kinetic energy is indicated by the formula half mv square, and potential energy is represented by capital V here, and half mv square value is equal to E minus V. Now, 2 cross multiply here, then we get mv square is equal to 2 into E minus V. Now on both sides multiply with the m, then we get m square V square is equal to 2m E minus V. Now substitute this equation 4 in equation 3, dou square xi by dou x square. So in place of m square V square, we substitute the 2m into E minus V. So this is called Schrodinger's time independent wave equation in one dimension only. That means we have to select the particle in only x direction. If we have particle in 3 directions, that means in 3-dimensional, then in place of dou square xi by dou x square, we have 3-dimensional dou square xi by dou x square plus dou square xi by dou y square plus dou square xi by dou z square. Actually, dou square xi by dou x square, dou square by dou y square plus dou square by dou z square is called Laplacian operator. So it is also written as del square xi plus 2m h cross square E minus V xi equal to 0. So this is called Schrodinger's time independent wave equation in 3-dimension. In the next session, we discuss about the Schrodinger's time dependent wave equation. Okay, thank you.